In a courtroom drama that reads like a real-life thriller, controversial internet personality Andrew Tate had been ordered by a Los Angeles judge to stay away from his ex-girlfriend, model Bri Stern, for the next 3 years. The restraining order, inked after a tense hearing, comes amid serious allegations and a legal battle that is only just beginning to unfold. But for those expecting Tate to be rattled, sources say he's treating the whole thing as just another round in a long fight. And perhaps the main event is yet to come. The story exploded into public view when Bri Stern, a model with a growing public profile, filed a police report in Beverly Hills in March. Stern accused Tate, her former boyfriend, of sexual assault and abuse, alleging that he attacked her during sex. The allegation sent shockwaves through both the influencer world and the legal community, as Stern's case became one of the most high-profile accusations leveled against Tate. But the drama didn't stop there. Stern hired the high-profile Texas attorney Tony Buzbee, known for his aggressive courtroom style and his readiness to take on celebrity cases. Buzbee quickly filed a civil lawsuit against Tate, ramping up the stakes and ensuring that the dispute would play out not only in criminal courtrooms, but also in the civil courts, where reputations and fortunes can be made or broken. Andrew Tate, a former kickboxing champion and a polarizing social media figure, is not one to back down from a challenge. Within weeks, his legal team filed a countersuit, accusing Stern of defamation and insisting that her allegations were entirely false. Tate's attorney, Joseph D. McBride, described a restraining order as a purely strategic move, noting that the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office had already declined to prosecute the case criminally. Mr. Tate made a strategic decision to stipulate to a temporary civil order without admissions of any kind, McBride told reporters. The Los Angeles District Attorney has already declined to prosecute, confirming there is no criminal case. This was not a loss, but a tactical move that spares everyone an unnecessary fight in a forum that no longer matters. If Tate's legal team is to be believed, the restraining order is not a sign of defeat, but a chess move, one that will allow them to focus their energy on the looming civil trial, where the stakes may be even higher. The order, signed by a Los Angeles judge on Thursday, mandates that Andrew Tate have no contact whatsoever with Bri Stern and remain at least 100 yards away from her at all times. It's a standard provision in cases where one party alleges abuse, and it's meant to provide a measure of safety and security for Stern as the legal process continues. According to Tony Buzbee, the restraining order is more than just a piece of paper. It's a shield, ensuring that his client can go about her life without fear of harassment or retaliation. The restraining order entered against Mr. Tate is for a period of 3 years, which should be sufficient to take us to the conclusion of Ms. Stern's civil case, Buzbee told TMZ. Mr. Tate currently resides abroad, but the order ensures that Ms. Stern remains protected whenever Tate does return to the United States, whether for trial or otherwise. Buzbee's comments underscore the seriousness with which Stern and her legal team are treating the case. They believe that the threat remains real and that the restraining order is a necessary step to keep Stern safe as the civil litigation unfolds. With the criminal case apparently off the table, at least for now, the focus shifts to the civil trial, a venue where the standards for evidence are different, and where the outcome can hinge as much on public perception as on legal argument. Here, both sides seem to relish the fight. Tony Buzbee, never one to mince words, told reporters that he's chomping at the bit to try this case in front of a jury. He added, "This won't go well for him," referring to Tate. It's a clear sign that Stern's legal team is confident in their case and eager to present their evidence to a jury of ordinary citizens. On the other side, Tate's attorney Joseph D. McBride was equally defiant, invoking a famous line from boxing legend Mike Tyson: "Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth." The message was clear. Tate's team believes they'll have the last word when the dust settles. As news of the restraining order spread, social media lit up with reactions from both supporters and detractors of Andrew Tate. For some, the order was seen as a vindication of Stern's allegations, a sign that the courts were taking her claims seriously. For others, it was merely a legal formality, not evidence of guilt, and certainly not the end of the story. Tate supporters pointed to the DA's decision not to prosecute as evidence that the case lacked merit, arguing that he was being targeted because of his controversial public persona. Detractors, meanwhile, argued that the civil trial will allow evidence to come to light that had not been considered in the criminal context. For those unfamiliar with Andrew Tate, the story is not just a legal drama, but a window into the life of one of the internet's most controversial figures. A former world kickboxing champion, Tate reinvented himself as a social media influencer, amassing millions of followers with his brash, often incendiary opinions on masculinity, wealth, and relationships. Tate's rise to fame has been marked by constant controversy. Critics accuse him of misogyny, while fans praise him for his unapologetic approach and self-help advice. He's been deplatformed from several major social media networks, only to find new audiences elsewhere. The allegations from Bri Stern, then, are just the latest in a long string of headline-grabbing incidents. Bri Stern, meanwhile, is emerging as a powerful voice in her own right. Though her modeling career brought her some measure of fame, it is her willingness to take on a high-profile figure like Tate, and to do so publicly, that has turned her into a symbol for some of the #MeToo era's unfinished business. Stern's decision to file both a police report and a civil lawsuit suggests she's determined to see the case through, regardless of the obstacles. With Tony Busby at her side, she's signaling that this is not about money or publicity, but about accountability and justice. With the restraining order in place, attention now turns to the civil trial. Legal experts say the case will likely hinge on the credibility of the two main parties and the evidence each side can present. Civil trials, unlike criminal proceedings, require a preponderance of the evidence, meaning Stern's team must convince the jury that it's more likely than not that her allegations are true. For Tate, the risk is substantial. A civil judgment against him could lead to significant financial penalties and further tarnish his already controversial reputation. For Stern, a verdict in her favor would be a major vindication, but also a deeply personal victory. Observers note that the dynamic in civil court can be very different from that in a criminal trial. Juries may be more sympathetic to victims, and the lower burden of proof means that the outcome can be unpredictable. This case is not just about two individuals. It's about how the legal system handles high-profile allegations of abuse in the age of social media. With both sides prepared to take their fight to public, and with millions of followers watching every move, the outcome could have implications far beyond the Los Angeles courtroom. Legal analysts are already speculating about what the case could mean for future civil suits involving celebrities and influencers. Will it become easier for alleged victims to win in court, even if criminal charges are not filed? Will public opinion play an even larger role in shaping outcomes? And how will courts balance the right to free speech with the need to protect individuals from harassment and abuse? For Bri Stern, the restraining order is both a relief and a constant reminder of the trauma she alleges. For the next 3 years, she can live and work without fear of running into Tate, at least in theory. But the public nature of the case, and the relentless scrutiny that comes with it, means that Stern will be living with the consequences for a long time to come. For Andrew Tate, the order may be little more than an inconvenience, especially since he currently resides overseas. But the real battle is yet to come, and both sides are gearing up for a showdown that could define their futures. In an age where accusations and denials can be broadcast to millions in seconds, the Andrew Tate and Bri Stern case is a test of how the justice system handles both truth and spectacle. With powerful lawyers on both sides, a media circus outside the courtroom, and reputations on the line, this is more than just a personal dispute. It's a story about power, accountability, and the search for justice in a world that often seems to reward notoriety more than truth. As the civil trial approaches, one thing is clear. Neither Andrew Tate nor Bri Stern is backing down. The next chapter promises to be even more dramatic. As lawyers trade blows, evidence is revealed, and the world watches to see whether justice will be served or whether the battle will simply move to the next arena. Stay tuned. The fight is far from over,